guys, it's time to go to bed.
I finished watching the last movie.
What's the name of it?
Pitch Black.
When did it start?
Like 11, I think. Yeah, 11.
Okay.
What?
What are you doing?
Now. Oh yes.